But it's close to Canada. This is a King James yard right here. That's all I know. In terms of distance, that's what I know.
So, getting back, yeah.
What's
Remember when
wrong
I
with
promised
you?
you?
What's
I
wrong
promised
with
you
you?
3 hours ago it wasn't going to get any better from here.
From Indiana.
Here we are at clown school. Almost live from clown school.
No, we're just the Walking Dead.
Almost live from clown school at Greenville Beer Exchange, or GBX as we like to call it, on Lawrence Street in glorious downtown Greenville, South Carolina. Hopefully the new Beer to Whiskey Studios, we don't know, we're not sure. But anyway, I'm Russ Heaps, and welcome to this episode of Anything But Bourbon. And what we have today is this conglomeration of whiskeys and bourbons from the U.S. and Canada. It's a great thing. And I'm here with my good buddy Big John Richards on the other end of the dais, the Beer to Whiskey Whisperer, Beer Whisperer. Sitting between us is E. Randall Porter, one of the Dayton, Ohio porters, we've been fraternity brothers for 50 plus years, and who is also responsible for bringing this to us. And E. Randall, we salute you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, having said all that, Ports, what do we know about this?
Well, we know that this is from the Bardstown Bourbon Company. They are a relatively new distillery on the market. I think they opened up around 2014, more or less. They're part of the old new bourbon boom.
Sorry, I went 2014. That's next year.
So they've been around about 10 years.
You don't have to be smart to do a video channel thing.
And basically, this is one of their, what they call their Discovery Series, which is a blend of 5 different whiskeys that they have hand-selected to create this series. And I'm just going to read from there. I can read it off the bottle, but I'm going to read it off my phone.
It's on the bottle? It's
Yes.
on the phone. I see it on the phone.
Right. So
It is on the bottom, but it's hard to read off the
Right.
bottom.
So I will say
We're
one.
not going to show you because...
They have full disclosure on all this.
Nice.
So 31% of this is from Kentucky, a 12-year-old Kentucky, 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley. So that's 31% is a Kentucky bourbon.
Right.
25% is another Kentucky bourbon that's 12 years old. It has a 78% corn, 10% rye, and 12% malted barley. Then there's 21% of this comes from Ontario, which is 100% corn whiskey.
Isn't that Canada?
Yeah,
That's
Canada.
also the one that caught my eye when I looked at the list. I was like,
Canada. It's from Canada.
one of those is 100% Canadian whiskey.
Right, so 21% of what's in the bottle is 100% corn whiskey from
Right.
Ontario, Canada. Then 15% of the blend is from Indiana, which is probably an MGP,
Which is close to Canada.
which is only 45% corn.
Only separated by 1,000 miles of lake.
But it's close to Canada. This is a King James yard right here. That's all I know. In terms of distance, that's what I know.
So, getting back, yeah.
What's
Remember
wrong
when I
with
promised
you?
you? Remember I
wrong
promised
with
you
you?
3 hours ago it wasn't going to get any better from here?
From Indiana, which is 7 years old, it's 45% corn, 51% rye, and 4% malted barley, which I would believe is bullet rye, since it's from Indiana. But I don't know, I'm just saying.
Right.
Bullet rye comes out of NGP in Indiana. And the last of it, 8%, is from Tennessee, which is 17 years old. and 84%
Wow.
corn. So that must be from Jack Daniels. So they must have got some barrels from Jack Daniels that are 17 years old.
Right?
Is Jack Daniels that much corn?
I don't know, but, okay, where else would you get whiskey that's 17 years old, that's 84% corn?
I don't know, but who does 84% corn?
Jack Daniels is sour mash, so
Yeah.
it,
Well, here's the other thing. Who was making whiskey 17 years ago in Tennessee? Jack Daniels or Dickel.
certainly Jack Daniels. But
Could be Dickel.
Yeah.
Could be Dickel.
We don't know.
So anyway, that's the
The
blend.
bottom line is we don't know.
So that's the blend in this bottle. And
if we were dedicated to our craft, we would have found out.
now we got to get the damn. How do we get
I'm
this?
just gonna pick it up.
Just pull it off.
It's just like a cap, except
Oh,
it doesn't have a
okay.
top.
We had a little incident earlier with the top on this.
Now,
So anyway,
we had to use power tools.
We had to use,
Awesome.
yeah, power tools came into play to get the cork out of this thing.
this is almost impossible.
$160 bottle of,
It is. I paid $160 for this. in
Lord
Kentucky.
mercy.
and the topper thing on it was like
Right.
35 cents from China.
It's in at least two parts now.
2 parts now.
There's a third part that came out as the plug of a drill.
We're hoping they did a better job with the stuff inside,
Right.
the juice inside,
Right.
than they did with the top.
Anyway, the
Wow. Wow.
Ooh, I don't hate the nose on that.
I don't either. I like it.
It smells like.
Don't
honestly,
sip. We haven't.
We haven't cheersed yet.
We haven't cheersed
It smells
yet.
a little
Love of
like.
God.
It smells a little like it was aged in port barrels. Like one of those may have been aged in port barrels.
well, it doesn't say that on the
Maybe
Yeah.
that's where it's been for 17 years.
Might be right.
Yeah.
That was the jet or the
And
Tennessee
or
whiskey.
Porto, Portugal aging in port barrel.
Maybe.
I doubt it. It's a theory. Text Miss Lily.
Come on. Oh, it's big. Whoa.
Oh, I think I left out the ABV on this is
190.
14?
it's 114 and 114.5, so it's 57.25 ABV.
Yeah, it's big.
That is
it's,
big.
It's rich too. There's a lot of. It feels viscous, but there's a big, big peppery bite right in the middle of that thing.
I agree, but I'm getting some like sawgrass or some wheat or
Yeah.
some.
I'll give you that. Yeah, there's that sweetness in there. That kind of.
It's not grainy, but there's this
Creamy.
Yeah.
That's what when we're talking beer, I keep thumbing my finger at the beer menu behind me that you can't see out there. When we're talking beer, if you throw wheat in, it creates this creamy mouthfeel and a silky texture and a little bit of sweetness. And I think I'm tasting that here, or something similar, because it's rich.
But it is hot.
Oh yeah, yeah. Some of that big peppery bite that I mentioned is
That's alcohol.
Definitely alcohol.
Yeah.
I don't know that all of it is. I think some of it's a rye spice or a barrel spice, but some of that's booze. But I don't smell a lot of booze on it. When I put my nose over it, it doesn't burn. Lord mercy. Did not put the cap all the way back on there, Mr. Porter.
Sorry.
What is wrong with you?
Gonna throw that water
What is
back on
wrong
the
with
floor.
I made a faux pas. So.
You know, we bring ports in. We bring ports in once a year. He teeters in. It's. I'm not going to make the joke. He teeters in, and so I could make the joke. but
Well, what's
I'm
the
not-
joke? I want to hear the joke.
It's like a Joe Biden getting off the stage thing.
Oh, I
You
see.
were-
Okay, yeah.
And somebody said it's like watching a Roomba, the thing where you go, okay, over here. All right.
Man, the nose actually quiets down when I put
I was
a little
going to say,
water.
Oh, yeah.
with a few drops of water, the nose really got, not muted, but it just changed.
Well,
It changed.
yeah, it quiets down.
Yeah.
It's another beer word for me. We talk about beer that has a quiet nose, that you just don't get a lot of aroma off of it. Ooh, that opens right up.
I have to,
Ooh, oh my goodness, that hits the palate and it does some stuff.
I have to say the flavor now is like leather or,
There's leather, it's musty and leather up front. It turns into maple on the finish for me, or like some kind of pancake syrup on the finish. I don't know that it's really maple, but it tastes, it's that sort of, well, a lot of times I throw out the word log cabin. Log cabin syrup. I grew up with that stuff, and that's kind of what it reminds me of.
I kind of get what you're saying, the leather kind of a thing.
yeah. What, couple of drops of water, man, it goes to leather big
Right.
time.
And the sweetness hits first, or rather, that mustiness, then the sweetness, then there's a big spicy, aggressively spicy middle to it. Then on the end, I'm getting that thing that I'm identifying as log cabin syrup.
I have so much burn on my tongue.
It burns a lot more with those 2 drops in there for some
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
You think it burns more with the drops?
I
Yes.
do. I do.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
I will tell you that I like that, but I do think that it burns more. I don't know that it's the alcohol. I think it's the spice of the bourbon that opens up.
But it's there.
Yeah.
No, I've got some fire on the tongue. There's no doubt about that.
I think it's the spice. Because there's alcohol heat like in the back of my throat and kind of around the edges, but that spice just, it builds back up, that big peppery kind of cardamom. Sorry, not cardamom. Cardamom's not the one I want. Coriander is the one I want.
You know, that's what I was going to say. It's not cardamom, it's coriander. You big lug, what are you doing? For the love of God, it's...
This is what happens to you if you go to your spice cabinet, close your eyes and open a bottle and smell it and try and guess what it is.
We all do that, don't we?
We do.
Wow, this smells like creek pebbles.
I'm not positive that I get it right. I don't often get it right when I'm trying to guess what I grabbed out of my spice cabinet, but this is what happens where you think you're getting coriander instead of cardamom. So, sue me.
I love the nose on this. The nose on this is wonderful.
I like that nose to open back up. The nose went away almost when I put the water in. But maybe it's just because I need to spend a little more time
No, I like,
nosing it.
once I put the water in, I like the nose and I like the palate.
I do too. Despite all the grief we gave these guys for their cap falling apart, this is a quality liquid.
Yeah. Well, here's just a little aside that I wanted to throw out before we leave, in the fact that this is, I don't know if you call these guys a craft distillery. I think they're bigger than that.
I don't know how to define that.
But
Boutique,
maybe, but
bigger than boutique.
right. But anyway, I read an article like 2 or 3 weeks ago that more or less 30 years ago, there were 35 distilleries in this country. 35.
Right?
How long ago?
More or less 30, could be 20, could be 30. I don't
Okay.
remember the exact,
Yeah.
but I do remember the number 35 was the number of distilleries in the United States of America.
Right.
You know how many there are today? 2,400. The other thing when I talk about this whole bourbon boom craze insanity, all the big boys have dramatically increased their production.
Right.
Buffalo Trace recently spent $1.2 billion to increase their production capacity.
That's how much Cowboys. That's how much AT&T Stadium cost.
Yeah. Heaven Hill, all the big boys are pumping out. They've expanded their distilleries. They're building warehouses faster than they can even, put barrels in them. The state of Kentucky right now has over 12 million barrels of bourbon aging, and that number continues to increase. So
I used to live in Kentucky. I love Kentucky. And this is one of the reasons I love Kentucky, is because if the rest of the world goes to shit, you can be in Kentucky and you got
bourbon.
You got billions of barrels.
A bunch of liquid in barrels. If
Exactly.
nuclear winter happens, we can stay warm.
So I guess my point of the
From the inside out.
of the taters lining up in front of the liquor stores wherever, I think that's coming to an end in the next 3 or 4 years.
It is. It's happened in the beer world, and I will equate that because we did the same thing, a similar journey. In 1873, there were over 4,000 breweries in the United States. In 1973, there were fewer than 100.
Yeah.
And they were owned by fewer than 40 different companies.
Right.
In the whole United States, 1973.
Yeah.
Today, there are almost 10,000 breweries in the United States. And we're having the same problem where stuff like Three Floyds. Three Floyds is a bad example.
But we brought it up anyway.
Other Half, Alchemist, these guys that used to be impossible to find, impossible to get. Three Floyds is a bad example because it's still impossible to get. But these other guys, some of these other guys, we're starting to see their beer here, South Carolina, where that beer would have never appeared. And the only explanation is they can't sell it all at the brewery anymore. It's just not worth lining up for anymore the way it used to be. And that's going to happen to bourbon the same way it happened to beer, where it's so easy to go out and find a beer that's just as good as blank for half the price.
Absolutely. I mean, these taters line up to get,
Yes, and that's a great word for it. I love that.
That in the bourbon world, the guys that line up and collect all this stuff and got 18 bottles of blends, they call them taters. And the taters of the world are going to lose their ass at some point because they're going to have all these bottles of Blanton's that they paid $400 for, and 2 or 3 years from now, we're going to be able to buy it for $75. We're going to buy it for $75, which is about what it's worth.
Which is what it should be. And that's the deal. We're doing that with our $30 4-packs of beer. God, how do you do that? How do you sell a retail $30 4-pack of beer? It's insane.
Yeah.
Could I interject something?
No.
Absolutely.
TikTok. As much fun as this has been,
Come on.
so damn lucky. See you next time.